You've been hearing a lot about the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, CHAZ, CHAZ. Why is it so fascinating? Well, how could it not be? I mean, honestly, you're basically taking the unshowered, bearded guy, like rocking back and forth drunkenly in front of a Starbucks, complaining about the corporatism, and then you're giving him a country. Of course it's fascinating. It's like a reality show with absolutely no likable characters. So like a reality show. But Seattle, I will say, far from where I am. That's the best part here. So screw those people and their life savings and the small businesses and homes where their children live, And by the way, if you want your building to be set on fire and you don't like that whole approach, why make it out of flammable materials? It's a question you have to answer, Seattle. It's not my question, it's yours. Obviously, the best part of the whole CHAZ saga so far is, well, the best part is, of course, that it's happening in a place where I am not. But the second best part has to be CHAZ Simone, local rapper turned self-appointed one-man commune enforcement squad inside of CHAZ. He's being called a warlord by other CHAZ residents, but that's not fair. He just really likes war and also thinks he's the Lord. It's totally different. To be honest, the way things were going, there is a non-zero chance that Joe Biden picks CHAZ Simone to be his vice president. Now, you might think it would be a bad idea during the Me Too era to name a man who is best known for a rap video where you watch a stripper be murdered by a bunch of celebrating men. And that's not a terrible point, I will grant you. But CHAZ does bring certain strengths to the ticket as well. For example, he can speak. The only issue I don't think really that would work here is I don't think CHAZ would take the VP job. It's a step down from essentially running all of CHAZ. And I, for one, am very excited for his upcoming campaign, CHAZ for CHAZ 2020. His platform is simple: freedom for all, or at least most.
I don't. But also the autonomous zone I'm a free citizen in the autonomous zone.
I hate to break this to you, buddy. You're actually not a free citizen in the autonomous zone. Hard to be free while you're being pinned to the ground. It is interesting how a society that theoretically emanates from a guy being unfairly restrained on the ground by people supposedly enforcing the law is now unfairly restraining a guy on the ground by people supposedly enforcing the law. In this case, the law of you're not allowed to have that opinion. By the way, this interaction ended exactly how you would expect.
I
mean, you're looking at paradise there, aren't you? Luckily, all races and nationalities of the world are, of course, welcome in CHAZ, unless, there's some exceptions to every rule, unless you happen to be American and black, of course.
Walking your race traitor. Race traitor! Race traitor! Race traitor! Race traitor!
And that right there is the BLM.
You like wearing that flag of imperialism, you little You gonna call your British suit next, huh?
Fascist, go home!
Yeah? You got your little blonde army?
Fascist, go home!
I bet your face colors are white.
Fascists go home. Fascists go home. It's weird. In my experience, it's usually the fascists who are the ones chasing an individual out of the area with a mob. Not the other way around, but hey, new things happen all the time. And there's a hint of fascism, I will say, in the concept of extorting money out of one race to give to another as well. You might have seen this clip where someone from CHAZ's leadership harasses white people into giving black people $10. I do, though, want to alert you to the one guy on the left of the screen that seems to be the only one in the audience who's clapping. And you can hear him pretty clearly, too, if you're on the podcast. This guy really is excited to get his $10.
Okay. I want you to find by the time you leave this autonomous zone, I want you to give $10 to one African American person from this autonomous zone. And if you find that's difficult, if you find it's hard for you to give $10 to people of color, to black people especially, you have to think really critically about in the future, Are you going to actually give up power and land and capital when you have it? If you have a hard time giving up $10, you got to think about, are you really down with this struggle? Are you really down with the movement? Because if that is a challenge for you, then I'm not sure if you're in the right place. So find an African-American person. The white people, I see you. I see every single one of you. And I remember your faces. You find that African-American person and you give them $10. Cash App, Venmo, $10 in your pocket. That's my challenge to you. Do it.
I can't take that. This one guy just clapping. I can't tell if he's trying to get everyone else to start clapping or if he's just raising his hand really high to try to get everyone's attention. I would like that. I'm black. I would like the $10, please. Just, that's my deal. I think this is a platform that must be adopted by the Raz for CHAZ 2020 campaign. Why? Vote for Raz. Instead of a chicken for every pot, it's $10 from every white dude. Also, Raz will kill you if you don't vote for him. So vote Raz for CHAZ 2020. That campaign ad would be hot. I will say, not quite as hot as the streets of CHAZ, though.
Put it out. Hey, everybody, put it out.
Constantly lighting their streets on fire.
Hey, hold it. Get away. Hey, what are you doing, baby? Don't just throw spread, it'll spread.
It'll spread. Look, nobody said the residents of CHAZ had elevated IQs. There isn't an I or a Q in CHAZ. Only LGBTs, and sometimes 2 pluses. It hasn't, I will say it hasn't been all fires and death in CHAZ. I hope you were as encouraged as I was to see the wonderful messages of peace as well. Like this one that says, kill cops. Now that looks bad, but remember, whomever spray painted kill cops on the building may have meant to include with kindness underneath it. And he ran out of time before he was murdered by Warlord-in-Chief Raz Simone, which, you know, by the way, I will say there is a minor issue with our campaign, now eternally known as Raz for CHAZ 2020, which we do need to address. Before he was the healing soul in the center of the autonomous zone, he did have quite a few tweets that not only use the N-word, which is totally okay if he says it. Damn you for even thinking that. But he also uses the F-word as it's applied to our gay friends and neighbors, plus other explicit uses of homophobic slurs. Usually that's frowned upon by members of CHAZ, but it takes a lot of work to become a warlord. And along with that title comes some benefits, like the ability to kill anyone if they post your old tweets. It's really hard to cancel a warlord. It's hard to look at CHAZ and do, honestly, anything other than what we've been doing so far, which is just laughing from afar. But it's easy to forget there are real people's lives here, and they're at stake. Have you seen the video of the Seattle police chief yet? Honestly, it's soul-crushing. She is trying to let her own officers know that it wasn't her decision to stupidly cede 6 blocks of Seattle to anarchists.
The decision to board up the precinct, our home, the first precinct I worked in, was something I have been holding off. You should know, leaving the precinct was not my decision. You fought for days to protect it. I asked you to stand on that line, day in and day out, to be pelted with projectiles, to be screamed at, threatened, and in some cases hurt. Then to have a change of course nearly 2 weeks in, it seems like an insult to you and our community.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the city had other plans for the building and relented to severe public pressure.
When's the last time you saw a police chief criticize the mayor and the leadership like that? I mean, you don't see that very often. She's almost dead inside. She is so saddened at the fact that she has to tell her own officers, I led you out there. I let people were throwing things at you, insulting you. You dealt with all of that for what? For nothing, for this stupid mayor to give into some left-wing fever dream. And I mean, it's depressing to watch, but it's real. These people are really in the middle of this. And as funny as it is, I mean, it is funny to laugh at it from any other place in the country. These people's lives, businesses, their whole livelihoods are at stake here. So I guess we've covered pretty much everything you need to know about CHAZ right now, with the one exception: Who should Raz choose for VP? Now, sure, you know the front runners that everybody is talking about. The BTK killer, the Green River killer, the Zodiac killer, the Son of Sam, and Chelsea Clinton. Those are the big ones everyone's talking about. But I'm going to go with a dark horse, okay? This guy, this naked guy, just sort of jogging his way through CHAZ while rambling on about earthquakes. Now, that's not to say that he's a polished politician, I will admit. For example, this is something any politician who is watching, if you're in Washington, if you're in CHAZ, you can learn from this. When someone asks you, why are you naked? You should almost never respond like this.
What's going on, man? Why are you naked?
Because I got 2 kids, I need to get naked too.
Okay. You're naked because you got 2 kids you want to get naked too. Not a good answer, okay? Like, if that was on the debate stage, it would have been a big problem. We might have to work on that talking point just a little bit. But honestly, Raz for CHAZ 2020 doesn't want the typical blue suit, red tie guy who rambles on for hours and hours. We need someone with a powerful and concise vision for the future. We want someone who responds like this when you ask him, what's your message?
What's your message?
Peter was. It's an earthquake. I'm gone. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Hi, Stu Bergier of Stu Does America here. Thanks so much for watching our video. Did you know you could watch our entire catalog for free right here on our channel? Subscribe now and be sure to hit the thumbs up button on all the episodes you watch, because that's how they know you like this stupid show. And that little bell in the corner as well, make sure you click that. You'll get notifications every time we post new content. Stu Does America every weekday at 8 p.m. Eastern right here.